I just wanted to put together a little YouTube video here to show you guys what you're going to get with the 100mm frame kit from GravityLab. So it comes with a 2mm carbon fiber base plate. We call it a 100mm kit, but it's actually 103mm diagonally from motor to motor. You're going to get a 1mm top plate. And then you're going to get this little bag of TPU parts. The TPU comes in a couple different colors. This is the green kit. It also comes in black, red, and blue. Now these are TPU. TPU stands for thermopolyurethane, and they're very flexible, so they don't really break very easily. The only real way I've found to break these was to either cut them or to burn them, to melt them. So these really hold up pretty well. And so you're going to get the carbon fiber plates, a flight controller mount, 4 frame savers that are going to mount underneath your motors, and then you're going to get 2 bumpers, which are going to go on the front and rear of the carbon fiber base plate, and then 2 parts to a camera mount. Now you're going to have to glue the camera into here. We use one of these little CMOS cameras. These don't come in the kit, but you can purchase these from our website. It's just a little 600 TVL camera. I think it's a pretty standardized camera. A lot of them will fit in this case. You are going to have to resolder these wires to the VTX though. It's some small soldering. It's somewhat tedious, but it turns out a lot better if you unsolder these and resolder the VTX directly onto the camera. The pod also comes in the kit. It has a little spot up here to fit a Eachine style VTX. It also allows a beeper to fit back here. You're also going to receive all the screws you need to assemble the frame kit, and lipo strap, a non-slip little silicone pad here. It has adhesive on one side so you can put it to the bottom of the frame so the battery doesn't slide forward out of the battery strap in the event of a crash. And you will also receive a 5mm by 9mm little active piezo buzzer. They fit right into the pod up here. Just like that. Now I want to point out that there are 2 different styles of base plates available, just as there are 4 different colors available. For each color you can also get, you have the option to pick from 2 different base plates, and the only difference between these base plates are the screws that the motor mounts to. The one on your right here is going to use M1.4 screws with 8.4mm spacing in between them. Now that will mount to the Emax 1104 5250 kV motors. I'm unaware of any other motors that would mount to this style, but those motors do run really good on this frame. The other style of base plate uses M2 screws with 9mm spacing, and that is a more standard mount for the motors. The Emax RS 1106s use that style, as well as the new Brother Hobby 1106s, and many other of the 11mm diameter stator motors out there. So make sure you select the right base plate for the motors you're planning on building your frame with. Another thing I want to point out is that while there's no real orientation to the base plate, there is an intended front, which is these little guys here where they're chamfered, and in the back They're just points. I don't know if you can see that real well. But make sure this goes in the front. It shouldn't really matter. You can build it backwards if you want, but that's supposed to go in the front because the top will match it. The frame kit's designed to work with a few specific components in order to keep the form factor slim and keep the canopy, everything able to fit in there real well. Everything's designed to fit around each other pretty tightly in this build. So in addition to the kit, you're going to also need an FPV setup, which this pod is designed to use any Eachine style of video transmitters. I have here the ATX03. It can transmit audio as well as video, and it has selectable power settings from 25 to 200 milliwatts. It's also really nice that it comes with its own antenna here, and there's a little mount here that specifically fits the Eachine style of video transmitters. I believe it'll fit any of the ATX through 01 through 03 to any of the VTXs from 01 to 03 as well. So to go with the VTX, you're going to want a little micro CMOS camera. We sell these and the video transmitters, the ATX03, on our website as well. You're going to also need a micro serial receiver. I fly with Spectrum, so I'm using a little Redcon DSMX DSM2 receiver. I'm going to remove this from the case by removing these two screws, and then you're left with this. I add a little hot glue here on the corners of the board to make sure the wires don't have too much leverage to be able to pull off the board. And then I take this little plug too and I desolder that off of the board just to give yourself a little more space once you put it in the frame. Now, I usually just buy one of these Emax power system kits. They're cheap enough and they come with the Emax Femto. This is a flight controller that this frame kit was designed to work with. I have one out of the box here. The whole form factor is only 20 millimeters by 20 millimeters, while a lot of the smaller boards out there have 20 millimeter by 20 millimeter mounting holes. Those will not fit into this frame. The Emax Femto is the smallest board, F3 board at least, that I currently know of to run brushless ESCs, and it really fits in this frame well. I really recommend going with this board if you're doing this build. I'm not really familiar with any of the other 16 by 16 millimeter mounting hole ones, but you could maybe give those a go too. And this Emax Micro Power System kit, I think they're just under $70 from Emax. You can get the Femto, a bunch of screws, 2 sets of propellers, 4 6-amp ESCs. These are okay to use on this build, but I would definitely recommend upgrading them to at least 12-amp ESCs. 12-amp ESCs will allow you to get full performance out of these Emax 1104 5250 kV motors that it comes with. So you can run 3-cell on these with the 12-amp ESCs, and it's going to feel almost like a full-size quad. It's going to fly great, you're going to have plenty of power, and it's just a great light little build to take wherever you want to go. A little park flyer you can always have on you. A 2-cell isn't bad if you want to just buy this kit and build your quadcopter with the 6-amp ESCs. Go ahead and do it. I've heard of people running 3-cell on the 6-amp ESCs. I know they're only rated to 2-cell. I can't say I'd recommend it, but people do it and they seem to have good luck with it. But like I said, to get the full power out of your motors, and if you're going to run 3-cell and not fly this indoor only, you're probably going to want to upgrade to 3-cell 12-amp ESCs, and it's really going to get good performance out of these 5250 kV 1104 motors. Now another option is to just buy the Emax Femto flight controller separate without this whole Emax power system kit. You're going to have to get some propellers and some motors and ESCs with that as well. But the other motors that I'm using now are the 1106 Emaxes. They're the new red bottoms, and they fly really well. The 6000 kV have a little more punch than the 5250 kVs that I just showed you, and they seem to be a little more sturdy of a motor. The wires are a little thicker. They're really great motors for these builds as well. But like I said previously, if you're going to use any motors other than the Emax 5250 1104s, you're going to need a different you're going to need to select the M2 motor mount frame kit, because these motors use a whole different style of mount than the Emax 1104 5250 kVs.